Welcome to today's session on how to set up payroll garnishment codes in Sage 300 Payroll. My name is Anna, and I am the Payroll Practice Lead with Bass Business Solutions. I am a Sage Certified Consultant as well as a Payroll Compliance Professional. This session is one of three we will be doing this year. Our next session will be on Taxable Benefits, and then after that, on Vacation Accruals. The dates here are subject to change, so please refer back to our website because once our session is done today, we will be posting it. So we have 4 payroll code scenarios that I'm going to show you today. So one is a flat rate, so a garnishment that is a flat rate that you want to add to your employee profile. I'm going to show you how to set that up. Then we're going to do a garnishment that's based on a percentage of earnings. And both the flat rate and the percentage of earnings are going to be on the gross amount. Then we're going to look at a third type of garnishment, which is rare, but I do have requests for it, and that is a garnishment, either a percentage or flat, that is deducted on net. And then our last one is based on a fixed amount based on earnings, earning wage bracket that is also going to be on gross. So before adding an earning or deduction code in Canadian Payroll, there are a few things to consider. Consider the levels of the earning deduction code that you want to add. A level in Sage 300 Payroll determines whether a code is going to be calculated off of another code. So if you are calculating a garnishment, for example, off of another code, which could be an hourly code or salary, the level of that garnishment code has to be greater than or higher than the code that it's going to calculate off of, and I will show you that. Then determine the GL account numbers to which you will want the earnings or deductions amount to post to. Determine the effect on other payroll codes. Does this code have to be included in another code, or is this code calculated off of something else? And then determine if there is any tax implications. After adding a new code, regardless if it's a garnishment code or another code, assign the new code to an employee or selected employees, and then test and verify the calculation of the new code is as expected. So now I'm going to hop onto Sage 300. So in Sage 300, I've already set up these 4 type of garnishment codes. So we're going to review them, and then we're going to review them, how they calculate, and what some of the options are when adding these types of codes. So I'm going to select Canadian Payroll, and then Payroll Setup, and then I'm going to select Earning Deductions. This is where I set up my payroll codes. And I'm going to select my first garnishment code that I set up. So the garnishment code that's on the screen is based on a wage bracket. And I'll explain that a little further as we go through the configuration of this code. So the short description is what prints out on the pay stub. The category is a deduction. And I've identified that the deduction is an employee deduction only. And I selected wage bracket table. And because I selected wage bracket table, the system actually gave me a new tab on the setup of this payroll code, which we will review. I've also indicated that I want to print this earning/deduction code on the check so that an employee can see their deduction. I've identified the frequency, which could be a float frequency, or it could be the frequency of your payroll, biweekly, monthly, semi-monthly. And I put in a level in here of 88. So the level means that any other code that this code is going to calculate off of has to be lower than this level. It starts as data hire or as soon as I put this code on somebody's profile. Now I'm going in detail on how to set up this first one, but the next 3 scenarios that we're going to see, I'm going to quickly just point out the differences between each one of these. So under the Employee tab, we identify if there is any reporting requirements or any taxation requirements. Under the Calculation tab is where we identify what codes we want this wage bracket to look at when it is looking to determine a deduction. So we've identified that we are using regular codes. This particular sample company also used shift codes, so we've selected shift. And here are the codes that are subject to this garnishment. We are not using any base codes or any tax codes, but there will be one of the scenarios that we're going to look at that actually take these into consideration. The next tab is where we identify the GL account code where we want our garnishments to go. Here is our wage bracket. So this particular type of deduction can be used for garnish, but it can also be used for other types of deductions. So at the top here, we have annualized wage bracket, which means that the amounts that are within this grid are based on an annual amount, not on a pay-by-pay period amount. And a progressive calculation just means that it progressively increases based on the table you have below. So what I have here is if the employee, so this is a biweekly code, if the employee earns from $0 to $2,500, then no deduction is coming off. And if the employee earns between $2,500 and 1 penny and $3,000, deduct $185. If they earn between $3,000 and $1 and $5,000, deduct $230. So as you can see, depending on what the employee is earning, they will fall into one of these brackets, and depending on the bracket, they will have one of these deductions. So the next code that we're going to look at, and we are not using optional fields in today's demonstration. The next code we're going to look at is garnishment flat rate, which means that it is an amount that you would put on the employee's profile to deduct. And each time you calculate the pay, that amount will not change and will be deducted from the employee's pay. So it's a flat amount. So we have the calculation method is flat. Under the employee, there is an area there where you can put an amount. However, if we want to use this code for many employees, we leave this information blank and we assign the amount to be deducted at the employee level and then your GL account. So this is how you would set up a flat rate garnish. The other code we're going to look at is a garnishment based on percentage of base. So it has a calculation method of percentage of base. Under the employee tab, we've left the percentage blank because we want to be able to identify different percentages to be deducted depending on different employee and requirements. If I wanted to include a min or a max, I could have turned this on. I had included a min and a max in the previous calculation, and I'm going to show you why. Under the calculate would be all the codes that would be subject to that percentage. And of course, your GL account. Last one we have here is also a percentage of base. However, instead of it being deducted before taxes, it is going to be deducted after taxes. Please keep in mind, this isn't a common request, but I have received these requests over the years, and I thought I would add this to our session today. So the difference here is the employee, this hasn't changed, it's still the same. You can put in a percentage or leave it blank and put it at the employee profile. But under the calc base, this is what differs between the percentage of base on gross versus the percentage of base on net. So what we need to do is we have to still identify the codes that are subject to the percentage, but then we also have to identify what codes can calculate before this deduction is removed. So the codes that we have seen so far, out of the 4, 3 of them are set up to come off the employee's pay before taxes, and 1 is to come off the pay after taxes, so at gross and at net. So I'm going to come out of here and I'm going to go to employee profile. And I'm going to bring up the first employee that I have. So the first employee I have here is Taylor, last name. We're going to go to the Pay tab, and here we've identified that this particular deduction is a percentage of base, and we have included the percentage of base we want to deduct here. The next employee that we have on our list here has a different type of garnishment, and their garnishment was based on a flat amount. So this flat amount is per each pay period. the employee's pay period is biweekly, and I've changed that every 2 weeks when I calculate my pay, it's going to deduct $150 every pay. If I want to change that for a particular pay due to certain circumstances, provided that I'm allowed to do that, then you would come here and make that change, or you can make that change on a time card for hourly employees. The next code I have is the percentage of base on net. I've also included that it's 10%. I don't have to do anything different just because one is on net and one is on gross. And then the last code I have here is based on a wage bracket. And as you can see, there is nothing to put in here under the employee rate amount. It's blank because the wage table identifies how much is going to be deducted based on the employee's earnings. All right, so I've actually calculated a pay, and I'm going to pop up here a pre-check register for the pay that I have just calculated. And we're going to look at the calculations for these 4 types of garnishments. So this is our first employee, and our first employee had a garnishment that was based on a percentage of total earnings, and we identified what those earnings were when we set up the code. So the total earnings of this employee are $2,040, and the garnishment that came off was $2.04. If you scroll over to the right, you're actually able to see the math that came up with that $204. So under the percentage column, it says 10% of what? What was the base that it calculated 10% off? It was the $2,040. Therefore, the amount to be deducted from this employee, their garnishment, is $204. If we go to the next employee, so here's an employee. This particular employee is a fixed fee. And here is my $50 that was deducted. Now, you may remember that when I showed you the fixed fee, it was $150. And the reason being is that this employee had a maximum to be deducted. So if I scroll over here to the right, it shows me the original amount to be deducted was $150, but because they didn't have $150 left remaining on their garnishment, the system is only going to take the remainder amount, which is $50. This particular garnishment is based on after pay. So it's a garnishment percentage on net. So we have the total amount that was earned, which was $1,420. The amount of taxes that were deducted are down here at the bottom. And if we scroll over to find out how the system reached the $113.02, how did it reach that amount? If we scroll over to the right, we'll see that it was taking 10% and 10% off of the amount. And the amount that it took the 10% off of was $1,130.22, which would be the net after taxes. And the amount to be paid to the employee would be $1,017.20 after it deducted the $113.02. And the last employee that we're going to look at is the employee that we actually did the wage bracket for. So the employee that we did the wage bracket for, I'm going to pop up my Finder to find it on my screen here. And I'm looking for a garnishment that just is GARN. There it is. So this is our last employee for our last scenario, which is the wage bracket. So the wage bracket was based on how much the employee earned. So in this case, the employee earned $3,315, and the system deducted $230. If we hop back onto Sage, go back to the setup and bring up that wage bracket configuration we did, this is what tells the system how much to deduct. So the employee actually made between $3,000, more than $3,000, less than $500. So the deduction to be removed or to be deducted from this particular pay is $230. So if we go back to our pre-check register, $230. So those are the 4 types of garnishments that we have looked at today. we've looked at 4 of them, and they were a flat rate. We looked at a percentage of base. We looked at a percentage of base off of net pay. And then we looked at a fixed amount based on a wage bracket. The last one I showed you regarding a wage bracket, that is very commonly used when you have employees that their earnings fluctuate. They fluctuate between multiple amounts. So one pay, this employee might be earning $2,500, in which case they would be deducted only $185. And maybe some pay periods they could earn more because they have bonuses, in which case they have to pay $500. So that is how you use the wage bracket. Now that we've gone through our 4 scenarios for the different types of garnishment codes you can set up in Sage, let's talk about how we can report on them. So to access the information to remit to your vendor, you're going to select Payroll Transaction Reports, Earnings and Deduction Reports. The category is going to be deduction. You can report based on a date range or calendar total, and you can select the codes that you want to report on. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. And what's going to pop up on the screen is the report for each of the categories, for each of the garnishments that we set up. And depending on which garnishment, you would have different information. So for example, this one here was based on wage bracket. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger here. So this one was based on the wage bracket. It identifies the amount that was subject to, or the base, and then the amount that was deducted based on the from and to date. This next one here is a flat rate code. So we would just have the amount that's deducted as a flat rate. And the next 2 are based on percentage of base. So you will see what the base amount was used and what the calculated amount as to remit. All right, well, that wraps up our session today on how to set up garnishment codes within Sage 300. Thank you for watching.